I was reading Psalms 56 and 57 this morning, and these are both written by King David. And 56 is when he was being attacked by the Philistines, when they'd seized him. And so the military opponents of him and his people had seized him. And at the end, he closes the psalm saying, "I'm bound by the vows I have made, God. I will pay you the debt of thanks. For you have saved my life from death, to walk in the presence of God in the light of the living." And I was thinking about what it would mean to live into paying the debt of thanks. And I know that when I'm happy, there's a part of me that's saying, "Thank you, God, thank you, God." When I hold Asher, who's 6 years old, and I've been doing that a lot because he has the influenza and pneumonia at the same time, part of me says, "Thank you, God, thank you, God." And I'm wondering what that means to have that be paying the debt of thanks.
You hurt me when you did.
And I'm also thinking about what it says here in the very end about God saving David from death to walk in the presence of God in the the light of the living. And I don't think that's a throwaway line for someone who's been through a lot of trauma. The act of walking in the presence of God in the light of the living isn't always easy, and it isn't the most automatic thing to happen. It doesn't always seem like the most reasonable choice. Not walking in the light of the living could mean a number of different things. It could mean dissociation. It could mean turning away from a lot of different relationships. It could mean turning away from life itself in a more extreme case. But I'm really moved by him saying, "You've saved me to walk in the presence of God in the light of the living." That's the whole goal, the whole purpose, right there. And then the first part of that, paying the debt of thanks. I think we can all go around feeling like we've got quite the debt to pay. And he's paying that with his gratitude. I know that doesn't always come automatically. I think it would be a great blessing to live in that place where your part of your heart is continually in prayer and continually in thanks. In the back of your mind, as Thomas Kelly wrote about in Testament and Devotion, to have that piece of you always reserved for that jubilation and that gratitude and that communion with God, no matter what else is happening in life. And for those of us who have not yet gotten to that point where we're feeling that all the time, it's still a beautiful image to hold, and it's still like a train to try and get on as much as we can. To have that peace of our heart, no matter what else is going on in our lives, saying, "Thank you, God, thank you, God." Or "Thank you, God, thank you, God." And that feeling of giving thanks to God, that is a communion. I think that's the most primal communion. Because in that gratitude, I think we're open up to feeling some of the glory of God. The glory is how God makes himself, God's self, known in our lives, because it is the nature of God as glory. And I remember first feeling that sitting outside as a kid in a tree, and I could feel this peace come over me. I could feel the peace of the tree. I could feel this deep peace of the land and the earth, and the sense of the trees and the water and the ground and the different weather patterns. I could smell it all, and I could feel the glory of it. And it was an experience of the presence of God. And when we are in the presence of God, I think the most natural thing to do when we are aware of that presence is to say thank you. It just happens. Yeah, so it'd be beautiful to open to living that as much as we can. When the door is opened, to walk through it, to keep knocking at that door so God opens, so Christ opens it. Keep knocking so that a greater awareness of God's glory could underpin everything in our lives, and that we might be filled with the gratitude that comes as a direct response to that, and through that pay our debt. I went on to Psalms 57, which is another one of David, after he'd escaped from Saul in a cave. He'd been hiding in these caves because the king was trying to kill him. He was this young guy. It was really awful. He'd been like part of the king's family, really beloved, and the king totally turned against him and was trying to hunt him down. This young guy was fleeing. It was rough. So he's this young guy hiding from a king in a cave, and he's thanking God for delivering him from losing his life at that time. And probably 3/4 the way through the psalm there, he starts saying, "My heart is ready, God. My heart is ready. I will sing and make music for you. Awake, my glory. Awake, lyre and harp, that I may awake the dawn." Woo! I love that. My heart is ready, God. My heart is ready. I will sing and make music for you. Awake, my glory. Awake, lyre and harp, that I may awake the dawn. And I know that David didn't stay feeling that way all the time. I know he didn't, because he had a pretty rough life. And that's not where he was all the time, but that's where he was right then. And I want to be there too. I kind of am just picturing it, saying, "My heart is ready, God. My heart is ready."